What if I told you that behind the glittering stadium lights, the sold-out tours, and the headlines that never stop buzzing there, as a side of Taylor Swift, is life that feels almost like a secret map? Hidden stories, shocking turns, and fascinating facts that shaped her into the powerhouse she is today. From a small-town girl with a notebook of songs to one of the most influential women in the world, Taylor's journey is filled with moments that seem pulled from a movie. And tonight, we're not just talking about the hits you've heard a million times, we're digging into the top 10 facts about Taylor Swift that reveal just how extraordinary her story really is. Let us start with the first fact that shows how Taylor Swift's story was almost written before she even knew it. Year 10. The youngest songwriter ever signed in Nashville. Taylor Swift was only 14 years old when she became the youngest songwriter ever signed by Sony ATV Music Publishing in Nashville. Think about that for a second. Most 14-year-olds are worried about high school cliques, first crushes, or passing math class. But Taylor was already sitting in songwriting sessions with industry veterans. She had been traveling from Pennsylvania to Nashville with her mom, walking up and down Music Row, handing out demo CDs to anyone who would listen. Most people turned her away, saying she was too young. But Taylor wasn't the type to give up. Her persistence eventually landed her a deal that set the foundation for her career. Imagine being a teenager in a room full of grown professionals, and not only holding your own but impressing them enough to get signed. It is like a high school freshman walking into an NFL training camp and not only surviving, but being drafted on the spot. That's the level of determination and raw talent Taylor showed at such a young age. And it tells us something crucial about her. Every success that came later wasn't an accident. She had been building this brick by brick, starting long before most of us even know what we want to do with our lives. Number 9. Her first album was a family project. When Taylor released her self-titled debut album in 2006, it looked like a polished, professional Nashville record. And it was. But what fans Dante always realize is how much of a family operation that album really was. Her parents had already made a massive commitment to her dream by moving the family from Pennsylvania to Hendersonville, Tennessee, just to be closer to Nashville. They believed in her that much. And while Taylor was writing songs like Tim McGraw and Teardrops on My Guitar, her mom, Andrea, was driving her to radio stations for interviews, sometimes waiting hours in parking lots. Her dad, Scott, even invested financially into her label, Big Machine Records, to help give it a boost when it was just starting. In other words, the Taylor Swift album wasn't just Taylor making her debut, it was the Swift family putting everything on the line for their daughter's dream. And that gamble paid off. The album produced multiple hit singles, went multi-platinum, and made Taylor a rising star in country music. But here's the kicker. She wrote or co-wrote every single track. At just 16, Taylor wasn't just a singer who could hold a guitar. She was shaping her own story, lyric by lyric. It's one thing to sing words someone else gives you, but it's another level to hand the world pages from your diary and turn them into hits. That's exactly what she did. This fact about her debut album reminds us of something very American, the idea that sometimes success isn't just about individual talent. It's about families, support systems, and the sacrifices people make behind the scenes to help a dream take flight. Taylor's story has always been framed as one of individual brilliance, and while that's true, it's also deeply rooted in the love and investment of her family. From being the youngest songwriter signed in Nashville to having her first album powered by family support, Taylor Swift's early years prove one thing. Superstardom wasn't something she stumbled into. It was a destiny she fought for, with a family that believed in her every step of the way. Trigger 8. She was rejected by every major label before making it big. It's almost impossible to imagine now, but before Taylor Swift became a household name, every major record label in Nashville turned her down. Picture this, a determined 11-year-old girl showing up in Nashville with a demo tape of karaoke covers, walking into office after office, only to be told no. Most kids would have gone home, maybe tried out for a school play, or simply accepted that music wasn't in the cards, but not Taylor. Instead of giving up, she doubled down. She realized that if singing cover songs wasn't enough, she had to start writing her own. So she picked up a guitar, taught herself chords, and began writing lyrics that reflected her own life. By the time she returned to Nashville, she wasn't just a kid with a dream. She was a songwriter with a voice uniquely her own. And that was something the industry couldn't ignore. This moment is more than just a cute backstory. It's the essence of why Taylor Swift has always connected with fans. Rejection didn't silence her. It sharpened her. And if you think about it, this resilience is a classic American story. From entrepreneurs to athletes, some of the biggest success stories begin with a series of doors slamming shut. Taylor's genius wasn't that she never heard no. It's that she refused to let no be the final word. Number 7. The famous Fearless Grammy sweep. Fast forward a few years, and Taylor Swift would make history with her second studio album, Fearless. Released in 2008, it wasn't just an album, it was a cultural moment. Songs like Love Story and You Belong With Me didn't just the top charts, they became anthems for an entire generation. By the time the Grammy Awards rolled around in 2010, Taylor had turned this album into a global phenomenon. Here is the jaw-dropping fact. Fearless made her the youngest artist ever to win the Grammy for Album of the Year at just 20 years old. And she didn't stop there. The album also snagged Best Country Album, Best Female Country Vocal Performance, and Best Country Song. That sweep wasn't just recognition, it was a coronation. Taylor had officially crossed from rising star into superstar. But what's fascinating is how she won those Grammys not by sticking to country roots alone, but by blending country storytelling with pop hooks. That crossover appeal is what allowed her to dominate both Nashville and mainstream pop at the same time. It's like watching someone play in two different leagues and winning MVP in both, and the impact was massive. Young women everywhere saw Taylor as proof that their voices and stories could matter on the world stage. In the U.S., high school girls blasted You Belong With Me in their cars, singing along like it was their personal diary set to music. Parents, who may not have been fans of pop, found themselves humming Love Story because it was so infectious. Taylor wasn't just winning awards, she was reshaping the entire music landscape. What we see in these two facts is the duality of Taylor Swift, the grit to bounce back from rejection, and the artistry to create an album so powerful it swept the Grammys. It's a reminder that success often comes at the intersection of persistence and reinvention, and Taylor mastered both before she even turned 21. Her 6. The Kanye West VMA incident that shocked the world. If there's one pop culture moment that people still talk about more than a decade later, it's the night in 2009 when Taylor Swift won the MTV Video Music Award for Best Female Video for You Belong With Me. She walked on stage, a 19-year-old country star clutching her first-ever VMA trophy, overwhelmed and speechless. And then, Kanye West stormed the stage, grabbed the microphone, and declared that Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time. The world froze. Taylor stood there, stunned, unable to finish her acceptance speech. That shocking moment instantly turned into one of the most infamous interruptions in award show history. But here's the deeper fact. What could have been a career-crushing humiliation actually became a defining turning point. Taylor handled it with grace, later finishing her speech when Beyoncé invited her back on stage. The controversy catapulted her into headlines far beyond country music and made her a household name. In America, we love comeback stories, and this was Taylor's first major one. People everywhere, from teenagers to late-night hosts, rallied behind her. It wasn't just about music anymore, it was about resilience in the face of public embarrassment. That incident was a reminder that fame isn't just about talent. It's about how you handle the spotlight when the world suddenly tilts against you. Circa 5. Reinventing herself with 1989. By 2014, Taylor Swift had already conquered country and crossed over into pop with singles like We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. But with 1989, she did something far bolder. She abandoned her country roots completely and declared herself a full-on pop artist. That move was risky. Country fans worried she was leaving them behind, while critics wondered if she could compete with established pop icons. The result? 1989 became one of the most successful pop albums of the decade. With hits like Shake It Off, Blank Space, and Style, the album didn't just sell millions of copies, it defined an era. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 and went on to win the Grammy for Album of the Year, making Taylor the first woman to win that award twice. What's fascinating here is how she pulled it off. Instead of dipping her toes into pop, she dove head first, working with powerhouse producers like Max Martin and Jack Antonoff. The sound was sleek, modern, and unapologetically pop, and yet it never lost her signature storytelling. That blend, relatable lyrics wrapped in irresistible hooks, is why 1989 didn't just perform well, it exploded into cultural dominance. And for fans, especially in the U.S., it was the soundtrack to entire chapters of their lives. College parties blared Shake It Off, road trips echoed with Style, and breakups were soothed, or maybe fueled, by Blank Space. Taylor once again proved she wasn't afraid to burn the playbook and rewrite the rules, even if it meant alienating some along the way. These two facts reveal something essential about Taylor Swift: her ability to transform setbacks into triumphs and to reinvent herself at exactly the right time. From the VMA scandal that forced her into the global spotlight to the bold gamble of 1989, Taylor showed that resilience and reinvention are just survival strategies. They re the keys to staying on top. 4. The battle for her masters. One of the most shocking chapters in Taylor Swift's career didn't come from an album release or an award show. It came from a business deal. In 2019, news broke that Scooter Braun's company had purchased Big Machine Label Group, the record label that owned the masters to Taylor's first 6 albums. Translation: the rights to all of the music that launched her career were suddenly controlled by someone she claimed had bullied her for years. This wasn't just a music industry dispute, it was a cultural earthquake. Taylor, one of the most powerful artists in the world, publicly declared that she didn't own the very songs she had written and poured her heart into. She explained to fans that whenever you don't own your masters, you don't fully control how your songs are used, whether they can appear in movies, commercials, or re-releases. Instead of backing down, Taylor did something radical. She announced she would re-record her old albums, creating Taylor's version editions, so fans could choose to support her directly rather than the companies profiting off her past work. That strategy was unheard of on such a massive scale. And it worked. Albums like Fearless, Taylor's version, and Red, Taylor's version, topped the charts again, sometimes even outperforming the originals. For American fans, this wasn't just about music, it was about justice. It felt like watching an underdog take on a corporate giant and win. It also sparked larger conversations about artists' rights, contract fairness, and ownership in the entertainment industry. Taylor turned what could have been the biggest loss of her career into a movement that empowered musicians everywhere. 3. The record-breaking Eras Tour. In 2023, Taylor Swift launched what many are already calling the biggest tour of all time, the Eras Tour. Instead of focusing on just one album cycle, this tour was designed as a celebration of her entire career, every album, every reinvention, every era. And the scale of it was unlike anything the music industry had ever seen. The shows ran for over 3 hours, with Taylor performing more than 40 songs each night. Fans dressed up in outfits inspired by their favorite eras: cowboy boots for her country beginnings, sequined dresses for 1989, folklore-inspired cardigans, and glittering Lover pastels. Stadiums across the U.S. sold out instantly, with millions scrambling for tickets in what turned into a historic Ticketmaster meltdown that even sparked a congressional hearing. That's how big this tour was. It literally got politicians involved. But the financial numbers are just as jaw-dropping. The Eras Tour is on track to become the highest-grossing tour in history, with billions in revenue, breaking records left and right, and beyond the money, the cultural impact is massive. Cities lit up buildings in Swiftie colors. Local economies boomed whenever the tour came to town, and social media feeds were flooded with friendship bracelets and clips from surprise songs. For American fans, attending the Eras Tour wasn't just a concert, it was an event, a once-in-a-lifetime gathering that felt almost like a cultural holiday. It proved Taylor isn't just a musician. She's a phenomenon who can transform the energy of an entire nation for a summer. These two facts highlight the full spectrum of Taylor Swift's power, the courage to fight for ownership of her past, and the ability to command the present with a tour so massive it reshaped the live music industry. Together, they show why Taylor isn't just another pop star. She is rewriting the rules of what it means to be an artist in the modern era. 2. The Billion-Dollar Empire. Taylor Swift isn't just an artist, she's a walking empire. In 2023, Forbes officially reported that Taylor had become a billionaire, thanks not only to her record-breaking tours and album sales, but also to her smart business decisions and ownership strategies. Think about that. A teenager once rejected in Nashville was now standing among the world's most powerful financial elites. But here's what makes it different. Taylor's empire was built on creativity. Unlike many billionaires who climb the ladder through tech startups or hedge funds, Taylor's wealth comes from words scribbled in journals, chords strummed on guitars, and an uncanny ability to connect her personal experiences to millions of strangers. That emotional connection is what fueled her merchandising empire, her streaming dominance, and her sold-out tours. In the U.S., we often celebrate the self-made story, and Taylor embodies it in a way that's almost mythic. She didn't inherit her fame or her fortune. She built it, album by album, concert by concert, lawsuit by lawsuit. And every time she reinvented herself, from country sweetheart to global pop queen to indie storyteller, she expanded her influence, proving that reinvention isn't just about survival, it's about expansion. Today, Taylor isn't just one of the most famous musicians alive. She's one of the most powerful businesswomen on the planet. Number 1. Her cultural impact is unmatched. If you really want to understand Taylor Swift's importance, forget the charts and the money for a second. Look at the culture. Few artists in history have managed to shape the emotional language of an entire generation the way Taylor has. Her lyrics are quoted in wedding vows, breakup texts, and graduation speeches. Her albums become cultural landmarks, with fans remembering exactly where they were the first time they heard Red, 1989, or Folklore. But it's not just fans. Universities have started offering courses analyzing her songwriting. Politicians reference her in speeches. Her ability to drive conversations is so strong that even small comments she makes on social media can spark global headlines. And let's not forget Swifties, one of the most dedicated fan bases in music history, whose loyalty has turned album launches into international events. Taylor's cultural power is so massive that economists even coined the term the Taylor Swift effect to describe the boost local economies get when her tour comes to town. Stadium cities see hotels sell out, restaurants overflow, and entire regions generate millions in revenue just because she's performing for one weekend. That's not just stardom, that's influence on a scale few people in history have ever touched. So when we talk about Taylor Swift, we're not just talking about a musician. We're talking about a cultural architect who has reshaped what it means to be an artist in the 21st century. From her teenage rejections in Nashville to her billion-dollar empire and unmatched cultural influence, Taylor Swift's journey is more than just the story of a singer. It's the story of resilience, reinvention, and the power of words set to music. Whether you're a die-hard Swiftie or just someone who's curious about her rise, these 10 facts prove that Taylor Swift isn't just living the American dream. She is rewriting it. If you like this video, Don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends so more people can discover these amazing stories. Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss our next countdown. And drop a comment below. What's your favorite Taylor Swift era? We'd love to hear your thoughts.